The threat posed by China is a common angle for both Japan and India, and both countries are currently exploring complementarities in semiconductors, critical minerals. How do you see this play out in the context of China monopolizing or trying to control and dominate a lot of the supply chains on critical minerals?
Well, supply chain resilience is something that the entire world is today concerned about. Different groupings are getting together to assess and safeguard their supply chains in different fields. The entire semiconductor business is largely dependent on inputs that come from China today, and it's an area of shared concern. Not per se that it comes from China, but it's the concentration in one geography that causes concern. So if you recall, during COVID, China had completely sealed its borders, and it caused significant difficulty for supply chains around the world. Similarly, when the permanent magnets were stopped from being allowed to export, we saw turbulence in the electronic sector, and that reflected also on the automobile sector. So I think it's been a wake-up call for the entire world. It's been a wake-up call for India. The Semicon mission that Prime Minister Modi embarked upon has been a success. We now have almost 12 major initiatives coming in the semiconductor field. India is a trusted partner of the world, and countries around the world and companies around the world recognize the talent that India has. Almost 20% of design engineers in the field of semiconductors are Indian. And therefore, most parts of the world, we are finding very good resonance when it comes to promoting the supply chain in India for semiconductors. You might have noticed ASML signed up in Netherlands during the Prime Minister's visit, their first plant outside Europe in India. Similarly, we have the semiconductor fab coming up in Assam, coming up in Dholera in Gujarat, clearly demonstrating that India has arrived and is receiving support from friendly countries, including Japan, who also is very keen that India integrates into the supply chain, given the talent we have, given the affordability of production here, and given the significant market that India brings to the table. We already have a $100 billion semicon market here.
The India-Japan dialogue was actually meant to happen in Guwahati. And Japan, interestingly, works with India on the Act East corridor. What role do you think a country like Japan can help in the upliftment of India's northeast region? Because a lot of people in Guwahati were actually looking forward to these deliberations happening there because of scheduling reasons. Ultimately, they couldn't. But the role that you think Japan can play in trying to uplift economic development in the northeast?
Well, I think Japan has, over the years, been an important part of India's Act East policy. The Northeast is an area which has very high talent, very good talent. The Northeast is much closer to the ASEAN region, and linkages between the Northeast and this ASEAN region make it a very natural gateway for trade with ASEAN. And therefore, Japan and India are working together to promote industry, to promote the infrastructure in the Northeast is a very natural trajectory of partnership, serving the eastern parts of the continent. It also very well fits into Prime Minister Modi's own personal commitment to the people of India and to the people of the Northeast, that every region in India should see equitable development. If you recall, right in 2014, 12 years ago, when he became Prime Minister, one of his first comments was, India cannot develop in parts. India has to develop as a whole. Unless eastern part of India or northeastern India develops, we cannot see inclusive growth across the country. And therefore, he must be the singular individual, one Prime Minister, who's had more than 50 or 60 visits to the Northeast so far. Every minister has been mandated to visit the Northeast, speed up projects there, get better connectivity, get better infrastructure, We have the Unnati scheme, which promotes industrial development of the Northeast. In railways, we have now reached almost every state capital in the Northeast with rail connectivity. Airports are coming up at a very fast pace in the Northeast. Many of these will ultimately become flag bearers for greater engagement with Japan and other ASEAN countries.
Both India and Japan have been hit by Trump-era trade sanctions and tariffs. And both are trying to renegotiate their economic trajectory with Washington at this moment. What do you make, Minister, of the fact that the India-Pacific Command has once again been renamed the Pacific Command by Washington? What do you individually and institutionally make?
I think we are reading too much into that. What is important is the fact that whether it is the United States, whether it is Japan or India, we all believe in a free and open Indo-Pacific. We are all concerned that this region should continue to see stability, continue to be peaceful, continue to provide opportunity for all countries in this region. And the shared values that we wish to promote in that area, values of democracy, values of freedom of trade, is something that binds the US, Japan and India together. And I don't see any difficulty in working together as a team, since we are also members of the Quad. I think we'll be able to ensure that this region...
The Quad at this moment feels more like a tripod. You got India, Japan and Australia holding firm in the way that they were, and the fourth leg is very wobbly.
Not at all. I think Mr. Marco Rubio was here only recently, and it's a continued engagement. Personally, I don't see any difficulty. We've had the foreign ministers of the Quad meet in the US just a month or so ago, and they have reinforced the importance of the Quad.
We're a few days away from the comprehensive economic trade agreement with the United Kingdom getting into force from the 15th of July. This was signed by Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Steinmeier during the G7 summit. And you were in the UK recently winning awards and talking about, so congratulations for that, and talking about the trade deal with the United Kingdom. How do you see this play out over the next several months? Because we know in certain quarters in India, for example, let me just take one sector, Indian whiskies. Indian malts have been trying very hard to build a certain name and aura brand for themselves on the global stage. They're very threatened by Scotch suddenly becoming much cheaper and coming into India with tariffs being reduced on them. So how are you looking at this?
Well, I think it's a proud moment for India that we will be having a free trade agreement, a very comprehensive agreement at that, coming into effect on 15th of July. Opening up huge opportunities for our businesses in UK. In fact, I had the largest ever delegation to step out of India's shores. Over 165 business persons who accompanied me to the UK, who had very good deliberations. I had feedback sessions with them, which gives us the confidence that UK market is pregnant with a lot of possibilities, a lot of potential for further growth. The textile industry during the delegation meetings has given me confidence that the textile sector alone is looking to double business with the UK in the next 2 years only. And they've already, since the agreement was signed last year, already started making contacts, already started engaging with local businesses, with the market. The sampling part they've already done. So our businesses have been quick to take up the opportunities in Europe. FTA is already in place. EU FTA legal scrub will be over in about 10 days, 10 or 12 days. And then we are looking at approval from the Commission and the Parliament. By end of this year, that should be done and dusted.
Are you hopeful that this will happen by December 2026?
Oh, yes,
because
certainly.
Several of the other agreements, for example, the trade deal between Europe and Canada was signed way back in 2016. And even now, it hasn't been fully ratified. So concerns are being asked about whether you get stuck in Brussels and its bureaucracy.
Rahul, this is, in fact, a very unique comprehensive agreement that the European Union and India have entered into. It is the first agreement which will be agreed to and concluded within one calendar year. January 27th, it was kind of the handshake agreement was done, and before 31st December, we would have inked the final documentation before it comes into effect, maybe early next year. It will be the fastest ever approved agreement by EU. And the second important element is, it is the only FTA which has seen 27 member nations, everybody supporting it. There's not one single country which has opposed the EU-India FTA. It shows you how deftly and smartly it has been agreed between Ms. von der Leyen and Mr. Modi, how they have looked at grabbing the low-hanging fruits, how they have recognized and appreciated the sensitivities of different member states of EU and of India, that not a single person could find fault with it or could criticize it.